Lisa.
Hi Mandy, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, and thanks so much for talking to us today. We're really looking forward to sitting down with you and talking about New Zealand's minimum employment standards and the key things we need to know to do the right thing by our businesses and our people. So let's kick things off with, why do we need to understand minimum employment standards?
That's such a great question, Mandy. Look, we know that the majority of businesses are always trying to do the right thing. But when you're growing as an organisation and trying to follow legislation, even a small slip-up could be found as non-compliant and bring your business into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. It's not just about the business either, it's about the whole supply chain. We need to understand minimum employment standards because they not only protect the fundamental rights of all workers, they help us to keep and maintain productive, healthy workplaces and keep the New Zealand market fair.
And what are the fundamental minimum rights of employees that these standards are designed to protect?
Well, Mandy, as an employer, there are many aspects of employment that are open to negotiation with your workers. Good employers do negotiate with their workers. Minimum standards are set out by New Zealand law and are non-negotiable regardless of whether they are stated in an employment agreement or not. And this ensures that employees are not contracted into exploitative conditions and upholds employers to engaging workers on fair terms.
Cool. So I think it's fair to say that every employee is a vulnerable worker, but some are more vulnerable than others. So who are the most vulnerable workers afforded protection here?
Well, in New Zealand, I think it would be fair to say that migrant workers, youth workers and new parents are the most vulnerable. The Labour Inspectorate have a strong focus on businesses which engage youth and migrant workers who are more vulnerable to exploitation by employers. In 2016, we also saw changes to the Employment Standards Bill that placed more clarity around availability, extended leave, flexibility and support options for parental leave.
Okay. So earlier you mentioned the need to for employees to do the right thing, but how can employers actually show that they are doing the right thing?
Well, a great place to start is by setting up clear and consistent record-keeping processes. That's one of the key requirements of the minimum employment standards, and this is about having consistent documentation in line with the legislation like the Holiday Pay and Employment Relations Act. There's a lot to manage, particularly if your business is growing or team changes have upset your consistent processes. From conversations I've had with MB and some of our clients, a key factor for managing record keeping is having the ability to share information easily and track acknowledgement. I think that's a really important thing for employers to keep in mind.
Yeah, and from what you've covered, I can definitely see the need for efficient team record management or the help of a technology to streamline those processes and make life a lot easier for employers and managers. So this is the last thing I want to understand about New Zealand employment standards, and that's what penalties does a business actually risk if visited by a labour inspector and found to be non-compliant?
Well, the Labour Inspectorate use targeted investigations and audit programs to monitor and enforce compliance. Less serious breaches may be issued with enforceable undertakings or improvement notices that require businesses to take voluntary action to their workplace practices. More serious offences bring heavy financial penalties, public naming and shaming, and nobody wants to be on the list, and even being removed from the market as an employer. As an example, in November in 2017, the ERA ordered Asia Pacific Times to pay over $100,000 in arrears and penalties, and they were publicly stood down because they didn't provide minimum wages, holiday pay, basic record keeping, and they were unlawfully treating their workers.
Nasty. Hey, well, Lisa, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today and help us to unpack New Zealand and minimum employment standards. I know how important it is for our clients and any business owner or manager to be seen as a good employer, so it's really cool to see how enableHR can actually provide value by providing these supportive frameworks.
Absolutely, Mandy. It's just great that we can support businesses to be socially responsible, and we'll build workplaces that people are really proud to be a part of.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, thanks everyone. We hope you enjoyed this talk. Bye.
Bye.